Hello there, I'm Michael, and this is Betirement. Thanks for joining. This is a little unique video. Today I'm just going to do a live walkthrough of a presentation that Metaplanet dropped. Today is October 1st, 2025, and early this morning, afternoon Japan time, October 1st, they dropped this presentation. It's called Metaplanet Phase 2, the Bitcoin platform. I'm fascinated by Metaplanet. I own some shares in Metaplanet, and it's been a wild ride. Flip over here to the stock performance. I actually bought my first shares of Metaplanet right here as it was gapping up at around $7.50. And the very next day, it ripped up to $15, above 15, actually hit a high of 16. Of course, I kept holding. Would have been a good time to exit. But you can see how it traded back down, back up to the 13, 14 range. But recently, ever since that high in mid-June, June 18th or so, it has been steadily declining, which has been frustrating as a shareholder. I do have confidence in the team at Metaplanet, but all the Bitcoin Treasury companies have taken a hit recently, and I think that's why the team, Simon Gerovich is the CEO of Metaplanet, and I think they're refocusing and expanding beyond just being a treasury company, which I think is a good move. And that's what this presentation is. So I briefly skimmed through this, but I'm going to walk through this now. The Bitcoin platform, scaling and building complementary business lines to significantly increase perpetual preferred issuance capacity. And I think that's the main theme here, is that they're recognizing that the old school method of issuing shares to bring in money to buy Bitcoin through accretive dilution, which had been the term that was used, has kind of played out. And as strategy has highlighted, preferred shares are a more accretive way to bring in income that with which they can build their stack. So they'll go into more details here. Of course, here is the usual disclaimers, and obviously, I'm sharing a little bit of commentary on this as I walk through it, but, obviously these are forward-looking statements that the company's making, and there are risks involved, so don't take anything as a fixed assumption. This slide also is on October 1st. They also announced a big buy of over 5,000 additional Bitcoin, which brings their current holdings to 30,823, which is quite impressive. And their goal for the end of this year was 30,000, so they've already exceeded that. So they are exceeding their goal. They are the #1 Bitcoin treasury, and they own more than 0.1% of the total supply, which of course would be 21,000 Bitcoin. So they are about 50% higher than that. And they've raised a total of 500 billion yen to build this treasury. Just flipping over here, this is a website I use, bitcoinquant.co. They track the Bitcoin treasuries, and this is updated with this most recent buy. So this 30,823 that Metaplanet has puts them at the #4 treasury in the world. Obviously, Strategy is the leader with over 640,000 Bitcoin now. Marathon, which is a large mining company, is #2, and they've been a steady #2 at over 50,000, 52,477. And then 21 Capital, which is the new company started up by Tether and Jack Mallers of Strike fame. They have 43,000, over 43,000. Then Metaplanet, and then the Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company, which also is one of the new SPAC-driven treasuries, and that's led by Adam Back. So anyway, Meta is in good shape here and is now #4 on the Treasury leaderboard, which is very good. And of course, they are the #1 Bitcoin Treasury Company. There's nobody else close to them in Japan. So you can see the nice steady increase here. 3 months ago, they were at 13,000, and they've more than doubled that in the Q3 of 25. So very good, strong results. And their goal remains by 2027. They are targeting to have 1% of the Bitcoin supply, which is 210,000 Bitcoin. So strong goal, but I think their track record points to that. But this is where the meat of this exciting Phase 2 announcement comes from. They say they are building Asia's Bitcoin rocket ship, and the goal is to have platform revenues that deliver thrust for perpetual BTC accumulation without common equity burn via issuance of Metaplanet prefs. As I said earlier, up till now, they've done all this accumulation of Bitcoin through issuing shares and diluting their shares, but it was accretive because if their MNAV or their net asset value multiple was significantly greater than 1, they could increase their Bitcoin per share with each of those dilution events. But now, as I'll get to here in a second, their MNAV is down near 1. It's about 1.1. And issuing shares is not very productive at that point. So I think they've recognized that as these treasury companies evolve, it's in their best interest to have other income streams and shift to issuing preferreds to bring in that money to continue to build their treasury and grow their company. So you can see here walking through the Rocket Bitcoin Treasury Operations Perpetual Preferreds. If you haven't seen it already, check out this video, which is the video I just released walking through the Strategy preferred stocks. So far, Strategy has issued 4 different preferred stocks. Obviously, they are working to begin issuing preferred stocks for Metaplanet, and that's kind of the next leg of continuing their growth. Of course, up till now has been common equity, of selling more common equity to buy more Bitcoin. And then next is their revenue generating businesses, which are the top portions of the rocket. Obviously, they're saying here that the core engine is the treasury operations, and then having that treasury enables them to take on these new revenue generating businesses. So one that's not new, they've been doing it for some time, which we'll get to, is Bitcoin income generation. That's through option strategies. So we'll explain that later, but they've also shown extraordinary growth with that operation so far. This one intrigues me. I think I have some ideas of what this might be, but Project Nova, they are saying they're currently building this, and essentially it's classified. They're not sharing yet the details of that. They say that's coming soon. And then up at the top is a platform, which is bitcoin.jp. JP is the Japan domain extension. They recently acquired that domain, which is an excellent, valuable domain, bitcoin.jp. And they want that to be the gateway to everything in Bitcoin in Japan. So moving on to the Bitcoin treasury operations. The goal here is Bitcoin accumulation, which is their enduring mission. They want to continue to buy more and more Bitcoin. And again, common equity has been the approach up till now. They have proven execution of issuing common equity to raise so far over 500 billion yen. They've had accretive operations above 1 MNAV. As I said, their current stock price puts them right around 1, about 1.1 MNAV. And this gives their shareholders direct Bitcoin exposure, which in the Japan market especially has its benefits because there aren't other ETFs or even strategy or other overseas equities. Up until Metaplanet existed, there was no convenient way for Japanese citizens to gain Bitcoin exposure in brokerage accounts, retirement accounts, etc. So that's been one of Metaplanet's key advantages, is providing a vehicle for Bitcoin exposure to the Japan market. And next, they are moving on to preferreds, perpetual preferreds, similar to and learning from what Strategy has done. They want permanent leverage without refinancing, which is what a perpetual preferred stock enables. And this will be high yield for Japanese investors. As we'll get to later, the Japan market has very low interest and dividend rates. Metaplanet will be able to offer significantly less dividends than Strategy is and still be competitive in that Japan market. They are targeting 25% of NAV for the target capacity, meaning 25% of their net asset value, or predominantly their Bitcoin holdings. Engage that with preferred stocks, or back the preferred stocks with that. And they expect that to be highly accretive, irrespective of MNAV or that net asset value multiple that we talked about. So these are two complementary instruments with one goal: to maximize Bitcoin per share. So that's their goal with shifting to the prefs. More about the prefs. They are meeting Japan's demand for yield. This is permanent leverage, amplifying Bitcoin accumulation while providing sustainable yield to investors globally. So there's currently $7.5 trillion of Japanese household savings. Japanese are known to be savers. They're very conservative, and they save a lot of their money in savings accounts and other low-yield vehicles. This is kind of shocking. The domestic short-term end yields is 0.5%. Versus money markets in the U.S. are known for currently over 4% yield. So Metaplanet is saying that they can offer 6% or less dividends in their preferred stocks and still be very, very attractive and superior to other options that the Japanese market has. This compares to Strategy, and again, in the video that I released earlier this week, Strategy is offering 8, 9, 10, 11% yields on their preferreds. So based on the market differences, Metaplanet should be able to offer these at lower yield, which obviously is less ongoing obligation that the company will have. Their intention is to be the dominant issuer of Bitcoin-backed fixed income in the Japanese capital market, and it's part of their core treasury operations. There's no maturity, no refinancing, and no dilution to the common shareholders. Next, moving on to the revenue-generating business lines. So they want to build complementary revenue streams with minimal capex or capital expenditure. And something that's been very successful up till now is the Bitcoin income generation, proprietary options premium monetization, and sophisticated trading operations and strong quarter-to-quarter growth trajectory, which we'll get to here in a second. The next is the Bitcoin.jp platform that I mentioned. This is a premium domain platform, and they will have media and conferences. So they own the rights to Bitcoin Magazine in Japan, and they will also be hosting the Bitcoin Japan conference next year in 2026. And they also expect to have revenues coming in from partnerships that they establish. So that platform is currently launching. And then finally, this highly classified item is Project Nova, and they are building that. So I'm excited to learn more about that. But it's designed to fund preferred dividends and increase preferred leverage capacity. Moving on a little bit more to the income generation. So again, this is currently live. They are using advanced option premium monetization through sophisticated trading team. Simon and Dylan both have extensive trading background and have brought in a team and continue to build out a team of strong options trading experts. They're using global derivatives expertise with institutional precision, and this is scalable, risk-managed approach. This helps scale the strategy, significantly expanding internal proprietary trading operations. So they recently announced that they're dedicating more dollars or yen into this, which will allow them to trade at a higher rate and higher volume in their options trading. And they're adding sophistication and scale each quarter and actively onboarding top global talent, as I mentioned. They've recently announced a Miami office and a Miami subsidiary, so I suspect that they'll be using some U.S.-based options traders to support this. So the result is it fuels preferred dividends without common equity dilution. So the 6% dividends that they plan to offer with the preferred stocks, they will pay that through this income generation with the options, which means they don't need to dilute the common shareholders and sell common shares to pay out the 6% dividends, which is exciting. Here is that revenue. You can see this growth of income generation using this option strategy. Started in Q4 of 24 with just 692 million yen, and then 770, so about a 10% increase quarter to quarter. Then a significant 60-70% increase from Q1 to Q2. And just to do some rough currency conversion here, this is 1,131 million yen, or 1.1 billion yen, which is roughly $7.7 million that they are earning through this. And you can see that this increased more than 100% quarter to quarter. And in Q3, they were at 2,438 million yen, or 2.4 billion yen. And that equates to $16.6 million. So it appears to me that they are just getting started. They're ramping this up significantly, and this is a good source of income for Metaplanet. Next is Bitcoin income generation results, fiscal year 25 earnings forecast revision. So you can see they have significantly exceeded their previous forecasts for both revenue and profit. So you can see here, just on the right-hand side, previous forecast for revenue was 3,400 million yen, and they are now doubling that to 6,800 million yen. And then from a profit standpoint, and again, this is for the fiscal year 25, they are increasing their target almost by 100% from 2,500 million yen to 4,700 million yen. So significant increase, 88% increase in what their target was for this income. Next is Project Nova. And again, this is classified. The status is building, but I think this gives us some breadcrumbs or some hints on what they might be building here. So they're saying positioning Metaplanet at the center of Japan's Bitcoin ecosystem, solving inefficiencies discovered through the 500 billion yen in market acquisitions. So this is acquisition of Bitcoin, and transforming operational expertise into sustainable revenue generation. Project Nova is another source in addition to their options trading to bring in sustainable revenue. So I think this is a key point here, solving inefficiencies discovered through the 500 billion yen in market acquisitions. They've mentioned this before, that accumulating Bitcoin in volume in Japan is difficult. Honestly, I don't know what the state of exchanges or other trading platforms in Japan is, but these 4 points here seem to point towards Project Nova being an exchange or a trading platform addressing the Japan market. And, the key point here is vertically integrating our Bitcoin treasury operations. To me, that means they are sourcing their own Bitcoin versus going through another trading partner or exchange in the Japan market. So this is very exciting to me. I'm looking forward to hearing more. Then Bitcoin.jp, owning the gateway. Obviously, this is a premium domain, especially in the Japan market, and they call it a home for everything Bitcoin in Japan. And it's a vast untapped revenue potential with multi-channel partnerships, advertising, white labeling services, and affiliate programs. So this is exciting to me. There are some high profitable global companies that are similar platforms or media companies, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Metaplanet can do here. They say become the #1 source for all Bitcoin-related content, news, education, and products and services in Japan. Obviously, that's a big umbrella. Japan is a huge market who is friendly to Bitcoin, and I think this has a lot of potential for Metaplanet. Again, this is Japan's most valuable digital real estate, meaning this domain. And then, as I said earlier, they have the rights to the Bitcoin Magazine Japan publication, and also the Bitcoin Japan. It looks like 2027 will be the first conference that Metaplanet runs. Natural SEO or search engine optimization, keyword dominance that this domain brings them. Premium distribution gateway, huge engaged organic traffic, multi-tiered revenue streams, and unified brand structure, advertising and exchange partners. So interesting that they're saying exchange partners. Maybe they won't be an exchange themselves as part of that Project Nova, TBD, and then white labeled products and services. So very exciting. Y-scaled preferred capacity. So I mentioned this earlier. It feels as though the accretion by issuing common stock has kind of run its course. So they're saying that preferreds are 100% accretion, where preferred share issuance increases BTC yield without common equity dilution. It also has amplified exposure. They can build leveraged common stock exposure to Bitcoin price appreciation, which means issuing the preferreds to buy more Bitcoin, which then benefits the common stock when Bitcoin appreciates. And then market dominance they want to dominate Japan's Bitcoin-backed fixed income market. The Phase 2 endgame, which is the theme of this presentation, is maximum leverage, maximum efficiency, and maximum BTC, or Bitcoin per share. Very exciting as a shareholder. All right, so moving on to kind of a summary of Metaplanet Phase 2. This chart shows the balance of the revenue engines which enable the dividend obligations, or fulfillment of the dividend obligations. So those revenue engines, again, are the Bitcoin income generation, which is the options trading, which is currently live. And then soon will be the Bitcoin.jp platform revenue, which is currently launching. And Project Nova, which they are saying here is coming in 2026, which is the new secret project. So they're saying that this revenue will allow them to scale. The revenue also supports the balance of the dividend obligations. So when they issue preferred stocks, and let's say they have a 6% dividend, they are going to use this income that they're generating to pay those dividends, so that they don't need to sell their Bitcoin or sell common shares. So they're currently targeting those preferreds to take up 25% of their NAV, or net asset value. But then that capacity will expand as they generate more revenue. They'll be able to expand and issue more preferreds. But those preferreds are secured by the Bitcoin Treasury, which is currently, again, at 30,823 Bitcoin. And that will be the collateral for those preferreds. This chart is very interesting, and it took me a little while to grasp this, but once I did, it's kind of eye-opening on how beneficial these preferreds are. And their main benefit is they are accretive irrespective of the MNAV. So as I shared, the MNAV is currently 1.1, so it really doesn't make much sense to issue more common equity to buy Bitcoin if you're down around 1 MNAV. But issuing these preferreds can be very accretive and beneficial. So this three-dimensional graph really highlights that. The first is the dividend rate. And as I said, in the Japan market, they are expecting to issue these preferreds around 6% or potentially under. So something in the 5 to 6% range would still be very attractive to a Japanese citizen who currently earns 0.5% on their savings. So a lot of market there for a dividend in the 5-6% range. And then this blue axis is the Bitcoin ARR, or annual rate of return. So if Bitcoin grows at 20 or 25 or 30% per year, which it's been exceeding that in recent years, currently around 40-45%, the equivalent MNAV in terms of being accretive to the company would be up here in the 20, 25, 30 MNAV range, which we briefly hit earlier this spring. But you can see how accretive these would be versus issuing the common stock. Very, very accretive. So as a shareholder, I'm very excited about this opportunity. Now they're just sharing kind of some summary of the current state of the world and a global fiat reality, as we all feel. There are issues with our fiat currencies that impact citizens. But they're saying Bitcoin is solving a problem for Japan, and they're going to leverage that with this Phase 2. So the challenges, global challenges, and Japanese execution that Metaplanet plans to meet with the Phase 2. First is challenges. There's currency debasement. So both in Japan and U.S. and around the world, the fiat currencies are being debased by the governments. There's aging demographics. This is especially true in Japan. There are inflation concerns, and there's ongoing education required. The advantages in the Japan market is, as I mentioned before, very strong savings culture and conservative culture, and currently $7.5 trillion of savings. There's also regulatory clarity about Bitcoin and these related assets, and they have strong platform understanding of financial platforms, and also a very strong culture of early tech adoption. So it's a prime market for Metaplanet to execute this type of Bitcoin leverage financial instruments. In their position, Metaplanet has a 1.5 year head start in this area, a proven track record of raising 500 billion yen. They own the domain bitcoin.jp, and then prefs on the horizon that they plan to issue that will have a strong impact. Moving on to the management team, I mentioned Simon and Dylan earlier. They are the face of the company in many times, but you can see there's a very strong team here, both Japanese staff and others globally with strong backgrounds at Goldman Sachs, Japanese financial institutions, Morgan Stanley, large banks, etc. So very strong, capable team that's running the Metaplanet strategy. So again, in summary, they are building a vertically integrated platform, and each stage of this platform maximizes Bitcoin accumulation. So again, as a shareholder, I'm very excited to see this play out. The treasury operations obviously live, and as of today just exceeded 30,000 Bitcoin. Strong growth of their income generation. Building Project Nova, which again is very exciting to me to find out what that is going to be, and then the platform, the bitcoin.jp. So that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of this Metaplanet Phase 2 presentation. I'm Michael, and this is Betirement. On this channel, I'm sharing similar content about Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related financial instruments like Metaplanet. And I'm really encouraging everybody to set up a plan to help retire early. Earlier this year, 4 months ago, I retired at the age of 51. And that was enabled by Bitcoin and these Bitcoin-related instruments. And I'm really encouraging my friends and everybody through this channel to study, understand, and learn more about these to help you achieve the financial freedom that early retirement can bring. So thanks for joining. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.